Alright guys, what's going on? It's been a little while. My name is Sam, and today I'm bringing you guys a Wi-Fi battle on the new Battle Spot playlist that has 6 on 6, but it's actually no items. So today I'm bringing my Roserade, Donphan, Lucario, Dragonite, Vaporeon, and Arcanine. Now, my opponent is actually from Germany, I believe, because all their Pokemon were named the default German things, I believe. So I'm facing Sylveon, Thundurus, Scizor, we have the Slowbro, Gengar, and Haxorus, and right off the bat, Haxorus looks like it just destroys the majority of my team. It outspeeds my Dragonite, but in this case it doesn't because I'm actually Choice Scarfed, but they don't know that yet. And I didn't know that my Dragonite would actually be able to OHKO it with Outrage, even though Dragonite's super strong, it should be able to OHKO with Outrage because it's super effective. Quick update for you guys, I don't think I'll be doing face cam for the previously recorded Pokemon battles because I think that it takes away from the battle itself, and I feel like live face cam ones are always funnier because you always get to see my reaction in the video. So I also did away with the layout. Let me know what you guys think if you like it better without me putting little things on the side, little tidbits here and there. I think it'll take away from the battle if I use a layout rather than just stretching the screen a little bit and making it fill up the whole YouTube video. But without further ado, let's just get into this as it is a little bit long. Okay, so Donis is issuing a challenge, and I decided to lead off with my Roserade here. Unfortunately, they see exactly what I saw in the team preview and lead off with Haxorus. I was afraid of that, and I didn't do anything about it, but anyways, point being, I'm in this situation. I'm just going to switch out because Roserade is not going to be able to take any sort of poison jab or anything really from this, and go into a physical wall in my Donphan. Now, Donphan's actually going to have to... I was thinking Donphan would take a hit here, but either way I was going to go for the Ice Shard because I have priority, and no matter what I could get a hit off on this little Haxorus here. But he actually makes the wise move, being as it was early in the game, and he goes out into his... what's he going to? Oh, Slowbro. I'm sorry. He goes out into Slowbro, and from the Slowbro, you got come back. And I'm just going to switch out into Vaporeon here, predicting a water type move, so that way my water absorb will activate and I won't actually take any damage, which is great. Unfortunately, this is going to turn into a really long stalled out type of thing where I keep switching back and forth between my Vaporeon and my Donphan, and I think I switch out into my Arcanine at some points. But either way, I'm going to predict the switch and go for a Toxic, even though Gengar resists Toxic. I wanted to get something Toxic, or at least risk it. I figured he wouldn't switch out into Gengar anyways based on his team, and now I go out into Donphan, predicting, a Thunder type move, obviously, and so he actually goes for a Thunder Wave, which is great for me because it doesn't affect Donphan, and now I can go for a Stone Edge if I like. And I believe I actually end up going for an Ice Shard actually, and they end up going right back into Slowbro, and Slowbro is going to be this huge troll that you guys are probably going to hate after watching this video because it's just such a big pain to my team. I really don't have anything for it, or so I thought. And you're going to have to forgive my phone for going off a bunch because I'm getting some emails. So I end up switching out to Roserade here to try to get off some damage, thinking that it was my only good option. But they end up going for the Psychic, which was my only other fear, which is why I didn't switch into Roserade sooner. Now they're switching out into their Scizor to block my Giga Drain, which is really wise. I mean, I wasn't trying to overpredict too much in this game because I really wanted that Slowbro gone, I'm not going to lie to you. And now I'm just going to switch out, and I believe I'll go out into my Arcanine here because I can resist the Steel type move that I think is coming. But and also I'll get the Intimidate off because this is a defensive Arcanine. But they end up just going straight for the U-turn, which is wise on their part because now they have Switch Initiative and they can go switch into whatever Pokemon they please. And I believe they're going to switch out into Slowbro, as a matter of fact, and that's fine and dandy with me. I just end up staying in and going for the Will-O-Wisp. But I kind of forgot that Slowbro has this neat ability called Regenerator, which I believe heals of 1/3 of your health every time you switch out, which is really awesome for them, but not so much for me. I end up taking the Scald there, and the burn's not really going to matter all that much, to be honest, because it's not... Slowbro isn't a physical attacker, which means its attack won't be affected by it. But here I'm going to predict the Scald again, go out into Vaporeon, and that's pretty much the name of the game for a little while, and I decided here, I think, to stay in and just keep going for Scalds, and we kind of trade back and forth Scalds and Ice Beams for, I think he ends up just going for Psychics, because that'll hit my Roserade switch in, and it also hits Vaporeon for neutral damage rather than not hitting it at all. Then we're just going to go back and forth here for a little while, and then I kind of finally find out that I'm not going to be able to take this thing out with my Vaporeon because he's got a move that we all call, Slack Off, which is another healing move, which just makes Slowbro this huge, incredible wall for my team to deal with. And I'm thinking there's no way around it in the back of my mind, but then I finally realize that I have something to deal with this, and it's in my Lucario, which will hit for some good damage regardless, and I'm actually going to Roar here because I just wanted to get rid of the Slowbro actually, but he switched out into Sylveon, which is fine with me. Goes out into the Thundurus, and predicting the Lightning or Thunderbolt or Thunder Wave or anything like that, that would OHKO me more than likely. I switch out into Roserade. Not really sure why I went out into Roserade here, because these things actually carry hidden power, and it's HP Ice more of the time to cover things like Donphan switching in. And this doesn't really affect me too much though, because I'm just like, you know what, I'll just sacrifice Roserade at this point, get a little more toxic damage off on this Thundurus, because the more toxic damage I have on this, the better, because I don't really have too much to actually take it out. I mean, my Donphan would be great to take it out, but it's also going to have to take an HP Ice if it stays in. But I end up switching out to Donphan anyways. Get the free switch in, that way I don't take an HP Ice. They're going to switch out, and I believe they go into Slowbro here. And this is where I'm like, alright, I gotta do something. It's already been, what, 18 turns, and I haven't touched most of his Pokemon, and he's already taken out my Roserade. I decided to just make the switch into Lucario, let it take a hit, and see where I can go from there. And hopefully it's not a 2-hit KO on my Lucario. And I lied, because I'm going to take one more Psychic on my Vaporeon before I do that. But either way, I wanted to try to calculate the risk, and I believe I ended up calculating it to be a little bit less than half on my Lucario. So at this point I'm like, alright, we're going to go through this little turn of events here where I Roar again, and it's basically the same type of rotation all over again. There's a Thundurus. It can take some poison damage, which is awesome for me, and I'm going to switch out into my Donphan again, because I don't want to take, I don't want to take anything really, to be honest, but I especially don't want to take a Thunderbolt on my Vaporeon, because it's the only thing really walling Slowbro to that and back. So he takes a little bit more damage, and I think I end up going for Ice Shard one last time, just to be really original, and, you know, but I don't want to mess with the threat, because the threat there was the Thundurus, and Thundurus was something that really, one of his only things that really destroyed my Vaporeon besides his Haxorus. So he's going to switch in the Slowbro, get hurt by the burn, doesn't really matter. Like I said before, the Regenerator is going to kick in. I'm going to switch out to my Lucario here, and actually try to take a Psychic or two, and luckily, based on the roll, I figure it's not going to, kill me with another hit. So either way, I'm going to go for a nasty plot and try to set up a little bit on this Slowbro, even though it's a bit early. I haven't really taken out any of their Pokemon yet. He's just going to go straight for the Slack Off, which is probably a wise move on his part. But either way, I don't think he predicted that I had Dark Pulse on my Lucario. I'm not sure if it's uncommon now, but it definitely was common before. And this is normally my Mega Lucario, but I actually threw Focus Sash on it, but for this battle it doesn't matter because it's no items. So either way, he's going to go out into his Sylveon, and I didn't really understand this switch, to be honest, because I actually carry Flash Cannon on my Lucario, which is super effective against Fairy types because it's a Steel type move, and I'm able to take out two of his Pokemon relatively quickly and easily, and I'm right back in this game. So now they're going to switch out to their Gengar, and I know Gengar would outspeed my Lucario, but I was going to see, I guess, if I could live a Shadow Ball, and I really didn't want to set up a substitute on me. So my Lucario is going to get taken out here, but now we're back at 4 apiece, which is great. So I'm going to send out my Vaporeon knowing that this is my special wall, and it could probably take at least one of this Shadow Balls. But he's actually going to go for sub, and I'm glad I went for Scald here, because Scald is definitely going to be able to break the sub, and I'm pretty much just going to keep trying to go for Scald, and try not to over-predict and let this Gengar get behind a substitute, because it's going to be a pain if it does. Gengars are not to be trifled with in the slightest, and he puts me to sleep actually with a Hypnosis now, which is... I was like yelling at my DS. I was like, no, because this battle was like over a half hour long, and I really didn't want to lose it, and this definitely would have been something bad. But I end up getting a first turn Wake, which is awesome, and so I get to go for an Ice Beam, fade the substitute, and I'm just gonna keep going for Scalds and Ice Beams until Vaporeon is taken out. Actually, I'm sorry, I totally lied to you guys there. I go for a Roar here and roar him out, luckily into the Thundurus, because now Thundurus is going to take that much more poison damage, and I'm going to switch out here, and I believe I go into Donphan once more, because it, like I said, walls this thing to there on the back. So, after he goes for the Hidden Power Ice, which is wise on his part, I believe I went for a Stone Edge here. And normally this Donphan holds a wide lens, which increases accuracy of moves by 1.1. But I don't know. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was a switch on my part, so I didn't even get to go for a move. So I go for an Ice Shard just to try to get off the last bit of damage against that Thundurus, but it doesn't work because he switches out into his Scizor. And look, that was a critical hit. That's ridiculous. That's nothing. And luckily, he goes for the Pursuit, so my Donphan will actually take the damage that my incoming Pokemon, which is my Arcanine, would have taken. And now my Arcanine's Intimidate's going to lower the Scizor's attack to the point where I feel like I can live a Bullet Punch. And so, predicting his switch out into something else, I'm just going to go for a safe Morning Sun, because I don't want to have this thing, my Arcanine, at low health. And Morning Sun's going to heal me up to just over half, more like 75% or so. And he's just going to keep going for subs, and I figured he would go for subs predicting my switch out, because he hasn't seen any of my attacks with Arcanine yet. So I just keep going for the Flamethrower, and now he can't go for a sub, he's forced to go for a Shadow Ball, and I'm assuming that I can live it with my Arcanine, but yeah, I actually can, which is great. Even though my Arcanine is physically defensive, it's also got a little bit of special bulk. Not really that much though, to be honest. It's just mostly meant to be a defensive wall. Now he's going to go out to the Haxorus, which is wise now, and he breaks the mold. I figured he's going to go for Earthquake, which he does, but I wanted to stay in and try to get the Will-O-Wisp off just to see if I could outspeed, even though I knew I probably wouldn't, because most of the time when a Pokemon is offensive, it runs max speed, especially something like Haxorus, which has really great speed and attack. So I go into my Arcanine, and just to get a little more damage off, now I switch out into Donphan after Arcanine's taken out, go for the Ice Shard to try to get as much damage off as possible before bringing in my secret weapon, but even though it's not really secret because you can see the Pokemon in the Pokemon preview. I go out into Dragonite, who is my savior in this case, and go straight for the Outrage. I'm Choice Scarfed, so I'm pretty sure I would have outsped, because I think Haxorus is something like 90 base speed or something along those lines. And I'm able to take out the Haxorus. He's going to go out into a Scizor, who has decent physical bulk. I assumed it was one of his physical walls. He's going to go for the Bullet Punch here, just to try to get some damage before I hit him with an Outrage. But the Outrage doesn't even take him out, and luckily for me though, I actually don't get confused this turn. It's going to be the next turn, so I would take one more Bullet Punch, which isn't the end of the world. And my multi-scale was broken a couple turns ago, but enough about the old news. But either way, the Scizor's going to live with a little bit of health, and I'm actually going to get confused here, which is great because now I can actually switch out, which is what I wanted to do, into my Vaporeon. And Vaporeon, unfortunately, is pretty much fodder at this point. Vaporeon was one of the MVPs for sure of this game, and it's going to take 2 Bullet Punches and get taken out. But either way, Vaporeon definitely coming through, and I get to just switch right out into my Dragonite here, get the free switch back in, and since I'm not choice locked into anything, I'm just going to go straight for the Extreme Speed, and that's going to be a good game, because he's only got his Scizor and his Thundurus left, and his Thundurus is at very low health, and extreme speed just out prioritizes anything that he's got at this point. So anyways, that was a good game, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I would appreciate if you guys could leave a like. It keeps me going. And other than that, I'll see you guys soon. I'll hope to be uploading a little bit more frequently in over the next week or so. All right, later guys.